Hi, I'm Jesmond, and I'd like to give you a brief introduction to my novel, On the Edge. It's a thriller, and it's the first in a series featuring Jen Shaw, a climbing fanatic and a lover of daredevil escapades. It starts with a storm, one of the wild ones, that roll in over the Atlantic every winter and batter the Cornish coast. But this one also hits a lone figure hanging from a lighthouse. The figure is Jen herself, unconscious and dreaming in a drug-induced stupor while the rope holding her up slowly frays. The storm wakes her and she climbs her way to safety, but she's left with a question. How did she get there? Was it an adrenaline-fueled exploit gone wrong? Or does something more sinister lie behind it? She hunts for the answers to these questions in the area of Cornwall where she was brought up, in the little coves where smugglers still bring in illicit cargo, not of brandy and lace anymore, but of drugs and human beings, in a wild chase across the inland moors and in the dark passages of an ancient tin mine, very handy for keeping things hidden from the light of day. And the more she hunts, the more she realises that someone has tried to kill her. You've probably guessed that Cornwall is a major inspiration for me. My family was brought up in the area around Charlestown, near St Austell, where Daphne du Maurier lived, and where many of her novels are set. In fact, the lighthouse at the beginning of On the Edge itself was partly inspired by a sailor's waypoint that overlooks Pridmouth Cove, known locally as Rebecca's Cove. And here, overlooking the Atlantic Ocean at the end of the earth in Finisterre, stands the other inspiration for the opening of On the Edge. It's the lighthouse at St Matthew's Point down the road from where I live, and I've spent many an evening here watching its great beams circle the night sky and imagining what it must be like to hang from its viewing platform. But if On the Edge started off with a storm and a lighthouse and my childhood memories of Cornwall, it very quickly became all about the characters for me. The enigmatic Nick Crawford, who Jen comes across in a strange encounter on the coast road just after she's escaped from the lighthouse, and about whom she can never quite make up her mind. There's Gregory, the retired lighthouse keeper, who lives in a tiny cottage underneath the lighthouse, and Jen's ex-boyfriend, Grid, who suffered a life-changing accident because of Jen's reckless behaviour. Her family, her free spirit and new-agey hippie mother, and her estranged brother, Kit, slowly falling apart under the weight of his debts. And of course there's Jen, fearless, passionate about living life to the full. She's someone who, despite her faults, and she has quite a few, is a fighter who drives her own story. But first and foremost, I wrote On the Edge for people who love a good story, one in which things happen, but one which doesn't shy away from real-world issues. I hope you enjoy it.